My wife actually found it. I was doing a photo shoot for Men's Journal, and she noticed in the pictures that there was a little lump in my leg, and they told her I've had it for quite a long time, and it just doesn't really hurt, never really bothered me. Had it checked out, and they removed it thinking that it was a fatty tumor, and went back to the doctors maybe 3 or 4 days later to get rechecked, get my bandage taken off, and get ready to get back to training and running and everything else I was doing at the time, training for a triathlon. And the doctor said he had some bad news for me. He said, "You've got to go back in and do some more surgeries, and you have cancer." I didn't know what to expect from the surgery, and they gave me the worst news, which was I wouldn't be able to use my right leg. I wouldn't be able to run again. Possibly losing feeling all the way down into my foot. So I was pretty scared going into the surgery, not knowing how I would come out of it. I rely on my body. I'm relying on me being able to perform. So it was a pretty scary time. I was worried about my family. I'm worried about cancer itself. I didn't know anything about it. There was no sure way to know if I have use of this leg until the surgery was over, because it depended on how much muscle I had to cut out. When I woke up, I still didn't realize what happened. I just wanted to know that I could feel my foot. That was important to me, because if I couldn't feel that, I wouldn't have use of this leg. I learned later that because of the type of training that I work with, I created extremely dense muscle fiber in my leg. So they were able to cut the margins a lot closer than they would for someone else that had a similar surgery. With this type of training, you build healthy, strong muscle fiber and dense muscle. You don't build big muscle. Over time, due to the way I trained and the way I took care of myself, it saved my leg. And I actually met a young boy that had the same type of tumor as me in the same spot. He actually cut his muscle right down to the bone and replaced his bone with a steel rod. That's a pretty typical way they do that surgery. So bringing back some of these movement patterns and helping people to create dense, strong muscle, functional muscle, a sense of being able to use it in many different ways, not just functional in a sport, but just in everyday life. But you've got to be willing to put the time in and sometimes break the rules. I break a lot of the rules. I break most of the training rules out there with great success, and the more I look back in history, I'm not breaking the rules. I'm doing it the way it was supposed to be done. I'm doing it the way the strongmen did it, the way different cultures did it, over 100 years ago. I have a philosophy. I say, instead of skipping an exercise or skipping a movement, don't skip it, just find another way to do it. I couldn't do deep squats because of my leg. I found other ways to do squats. I did overhead squats. They weren't so deep. They weren't pretty at all. They were painful as hell. But they helped me rehab my body because I got to work other muscle groups at the same time. There's lots of ways to get things done in life, and training is no different. For just taking care of yourself and working your body properly, rather than find yourself in a gym aimlessly doing some machine work or walking on a treadmill just because someone said or some magazine said you should. You've got to do what feels right. You've got to do what feels good for your body. But I can tell you right now, none of this is easy. None of it is easy. It's all hard work. I wanted to run again. That was my thing. I wanted to be able to run again. I wanted to do deep squats. I wanted to have my body act and move the way it did prior to cancer. So surviving it wasn't enough for me. I wanted more. And if I did listen to the docs completely, I would probably not be shooting this video today.
It's me. That was pretty cool.